I've lived in Columbus, Georgia for more than 20 years, and I never thought there would come a day when I'd have to guard my farm like a battlefield. Everything started with just a few strange tracks in the field. I ignored them until the next morning when the entire crop was torn apart as if a storm had ripped through overnight. Then they came back, not one, but an entire herd of wild hogs. They smashed fences, tore up the soil, and trampled the harvest I'd spent months caring for. And I realized one thing: if I didn't stop them right now, I was going to lose everything. The first traps were set right along the forest edge, where the hogs usually poured out each night. Not placed randomly, not done in haste. Every location was carefully studied, based on the herd's familiar travel routes. But trapping only at the edge was not enough. Deeper inside the forest, more zones began to be secured as well. Transit points, trails, resting spots, feeding grounds, all of it was gradually brought into the control system. A network was taking shape. We split into teams. Each person was given a role. Everything moved quickly. Once the traps were in place, technology entered the operation. Motion sensor cameras were installed. Automatic target recognition systems recorded every animal that appeared. Every movement was tracked. Every time the herd returned, we had data. No more guessing. No more passive reactions. Everything now was under our control. And after a period of monitoring, we kept bait inside while the trapdoors remained open, watching everything through our devices. When the moment came and the whole herd naturally gathered inside to feed, I looked at my father and knew everything was ready. The decisive moment had arrived. Just one button. The enclosed system activated instantly. Escape routes were blocked almost at the same time. No gaps, no way back. Bang! The drop gate slammed shut with incredible speed. Inside, the wild hogs immediately fell in a panic. They scattered, spun in circles, searched every direction for a way out. But every path led to the same ending. A closed circle, no matter how intelligent they were. They gradually lost all sense of direction. Within minutes, the resistance began to fade. No more desperate charges. No more clear attempts to escape. The entire herd was contained inside the trap system. It was over. I looked at my father, and everyone there let out a breath of relief. That same night, reports came in from every other trap we had placed. They had all been triggered, capturing many more targets waiting for their chance to destroy farms and neighborhoods. No one needed to say anything, but everyone understood. After that night, the whole community would finally sleep in peace, no longer fearing their crops would be ruined again. But the most important thing was never the trap. It was the way the community chose to act. The individuals causing the greatest damage were selected first and dealt with through humane, swift, and carefully controlled methods. No chaos, no extremism, just responsible action to avoid unnecessary panic for the animals while bringing real economic relief to local families. This approach was never about wiping them out entirely, but about reducing risk while still respecting ecological balance. And it was true. After that night, silence returned. No more tangled tracks every morning. No more torn up soil after every dark night. But what truly changed was the way people faced the problem. No more rushed reactions. No more isolated efforts. Instead, observe, understand, then act at the right moment. Because in situations like this, the most important decision is not how fast you act, it is whether you have enough patience to wait for the right time.
No gunshots, no headlights sweeping through the trees, just a phone vibrating quietly in the middle of the night. Close to midnight, a notification comes in from the home security system. Motion detected. Seconds later, the footage reveals a group of wild boars moving into the garden. They advance in a line. Calm, methodical, no rush. This isn't the behavior of animals passing through by chance. It's the signature of a herd that knows this ground well. That tells us one thing clearly. This isn't a random visit. It's a well-established route. The real question now becomes, how do you stop the risk without putting people or the neighborhood in danger? Let's take a closer look. No one steps outside. Everything is monitored from inside the house, where decisions are made based on data, not instinct. A smart trap had been set weeks earlier, right along the trail the boars repeatedly used to approach the residential area. This wasn't guesswork. The location was chosen using night camera footage, tracks, and repeated movement patterns. The system combines night vision cameras, motion sensors, and a remotely controlled gate. Most importantly, it allows full control without direct contact, a critical factor when dealing with wildlife near homes. The herd pauses at the edge between forest and living space. They test the ground, root around, circle cautiously. A few individuals hang back, watching, reading the situation. This is the most dangerous moment. One wrong decision here, and the herd scatters, learns, and avoids traps forever. Then, one decision, timed perfectly. The gate drops cleanly. The herd is contained in a controlled space, fully separated from the neighborhood. No injuries, no noise. No one in the area even wakes up. A secondary camera deeper in the forest keeps rolling. Another group from the same herd changes direction. No panic, no chaos. They simply circle wider, searching for a new way in. That's textbook behavior when a familiar route is blocked. Instead of escalating force, a second trap is placed deeper, quieter, less obvious. The goal isn't speed, it's closing off re-entry completely and keeping the area stable in the nights ahead. What made that night special wasn't how many boars were controlled, it was when the decision was made. 30 seconds earlier, the herd could have split and spread. A few minutes later, fences, gardens, and living space might have taken real damage. Technology helps, a lot, but it can't replace human judgment or patience. The result came from preparation done long before, and a calm decision made at exactly the right moment.
We got Leafy Leaper over. People want a copy. But there they all are.
By morning, the garden is untouched. Proof that modern wildlife control is no longer about confrontation. It's about being proactive, safe, and responsible. This is what it looks like when humans manage conflict with intelligence and patience instead of panic. Situations like this will only become more common as the line between people and nature continues to shrink. In the next episode, we'll keep following how residential areas take control before conflict begins. Like, share, and subscribe to stay with us.
Run and go get the other ones now. Other one.
The sight of wild boars wandering into urban areas is no longer rare. It's becoming an escalating problem. At first, muddy tracks and minor crop damage might seem harmless, but things quickly spiral out of control. Today, wild boars roam neighborhoods freely, leaving destruction in their wake and damaging public infrastructure. This issue has moved beyond ecology. It's now a community safety concern. Without timely intervention, incidents like these are almost certain to repeat. This situation shows that communities need to shift from a reactive stance to a proactive approach in managing wild boars, coordinating closely with local authorities. So, what's the most effective way to tackle this before things get worse? Let's follow our journey to find out. You can't just set up a cage trap in a rush. Installing one takes hours, sometimes an entire day. because every detail must account for the boar's movement patterns. Placement is everything. Observing footprints, dug-up soil, and known pathways is key to determining where the trap will work best. The cage is reinforced to safely contain multiple boars at once. The trap's space is just right, so the animals don't sense anything unusual, while the gate snaps shut automatically when triggered, quick and silent, minimizing disruption to the surrounding area. This approach reduces unnecessary stress, keeps the herd calm, and ensures relocation is carried out responsibly. With all preparations complete, the wildlife control team waits patiently. As night falls, the world grows quiet, and the traps sit ready for action. The first signal comes in tense moments. The lead boar enters the center of the trap. Sensing the perfect moment, the team leader releases the gate, securing the boar safely inside. This is the result of careful observation, precise calculation, and flawless teamwork. Not far away, other traps show positive signals around midnight. Each herd is controlled, preventing them from returning to the neighborhood. This is modern wildlife management in action. Effective, humane, and timely intervention to prevent invasions. Once trapped, wild boars are transported carefully and orderly. Though contained, their defensive instincts remain strong, so minimizing stress and injury is critical. Protective gear and specialized equipment are essential, showing respect for both the animals and nature. Boars are placed in sturdy, well-ventilated transport crates, ensuring safety for both humans and animals. Every movement is meticulously planned to avoid panic or harm. This process isn't just transportation, it's a lesson in coexisting responsibly with wildlife. In certain licensed programs, biological samples may be sent for research to monitor populations and ecosystems. All actions comply strictly with federal law and food safety regulations. Cage traps are a responsible way to manage wild boar populations. They allow humans to protect crops and property while minimizing negative impact on wildlife. With careful observation and timely intervention, we can safeguard production and maintain ecological balance. In a very short amount of time, sometimes in just a single night, a sounder of wild boar can destroy farmland that took months of human labor to build. That speed of destruction raises a critical question for environmental and agricultural managers alike. How can we intervene quickly and effectively while still maintaining natural balance? At first glance, the pig brig net trap may look like just a piece of netting. In reality, it is a carefully engineered system designed to control entire sounders safely and responsibly, rather than relying on extreme measures. Steel stakes are driven into the ground at calculated angles to form a load-bearing frame. Heavy-duty clamps and high-tensile straps keep the structure stable. The specialized outdoor netting is spread evenly, durable enough to withstand impact, yet flexible enough to absorb force. Finally, the bottom edge of the net is anchored deep into the soil to prevent shifting when the boar react. Effectiveness doesn't come from brute force. It comes from correct design, proper placement, and precise timing. In areas with large trees, installers often use sturdy trunks as natural anchor points. This approach reduces the amount of material that must be transported and blends better into dense forest terrain, minimizing unnecessary disturbance to the surrounding environment. For farmers, this isn't just a technical solution. It's a way to protect months of hard work with just a few hours of careful setup. Once installation is complete, the system is not activated immediately. The net is suspended high, leaving open space for animals to move in and out naturally. Bait is placed deep in the center to encourage them to enter fully. The goal at this stage is familiarity. As the animals encounter the net while feeding, their initial caution gradually fades. This acclimation period typically lasts 2 to 3 days and plays a crucial role in reducing stress, allowing the entire sounder to perceive the area as safe.
Look at it.
Once the animals are comfortable with the site, the net is lowered until it touches the ground. To reach the bait, they must push lightly against the net to enter. However, due to the system's unique design, once inside, they cannot push their way back out. This one-way mechanism is the key to the trap's success. You can clearly see how the net reacts under pressure. Unlike rigid steel cage traps, the soft net absorbs impact extremely well. When a boar charges, the net flexes and redirects the animal back toward the center instead of bending or breaking. This is one of the system's greatest strengths, and why it is widely regarded as both safer and more humane. Managing wild boar populations at scale is critical for environmental stability. This species reproduces rapidly and can easily disrupt ecological balance. In Florida alone, wild boar populations are estimated to exceed 500,000 animals, causing widespread damage to farmland and native species. A single sow can produce multiple litters per year, making control especially challenging. The effectiveness of this system is not measured only by numbers captured. It is reflected in reduced crop damage and lower environmental pressure. This approach offers a practical way to rebalance ecosystems that are under threat from unchecked population growth.
Well, give a few feet. That's a big heifer.
We used to think the only way to stop wild boars was to chase them down. But the more we chased, the more the herd vanished, only to return later, even harder to control. After paying the price a few times, we realized something counterintuitive. The first thing to do is stop the chase. It sounds unbelievable when fields are ripped apart and fences constantly torn down. But the harder you press, the smarter they get, changing their patterns. So we switch tactics, stop the pressure, start guiding. And it's that very retreat that opened the door to a sustainable, effective way to manage them. Here's how. Wild boars aren't just strong, they're sharp and quick learners. Every strange sound, lingering human scent, or half-finished intervention becomes a warning. After a few negative encounters, surviving pigs remember and adjust the behavior of the entire herd. They shift their activity times, split into smaller groups, take longer detours, and even scout new areas first. Repeated disturbances unintentionally teach the herd to adapt faster, making them more unpredictable. We realized, to truly solve the problem, the herd must feel the environment has returned to normal. Only then will their natural behavior show itself. From the moment we stopped the chase, the real work began. Stopping the pursuit doesn't mean doing nothing. On the contrary, observation becomes the key. Newly turned soil, deepened trails along the forest edge, gaps between tree clusters, all indicate fixed routes the herd must take. No matter how cautious they are, habits still dictate their movements. These natural gateways force the pigs to pass through. Once these paths are mapped, all that's left is to place control systems in the right spots and wait patiently.
Got a little bloody nose.
Silence becomes the most powerful tool. No strange sounds, no signs of repeated intervention. Everything returns to the familiar rhythm of the area. Then, from the forest edge, dark shapes slowly emerge. They follow the same trails observed days before. One pig stops to sniff the wind. The whole herd freezes for a heartbeat, the kind of moment that could ruin everything if you rush. But with no pressure, they move on. And that's when the gateways do their work. That moment is a clear confirmation. Remove the pressure, and natural behavior guides the herd into the control area. Every control system is triggered at the right time. Everything unfolds orderly, precisely, exactly as planned.
Come on, hey! Not yet. Get in there. Get on. Hey, hey. Okay.
The don't chase, let them come strategy isn't luck, nor is it constant pressure. It's a game of observation, discipline, and timing. When we stop leaving human scent, making noise, and intervening halfway, the herd stops learning to avoid us, and their natural habits reveal themselves. The key lesson: don't chase the herd, control the path. Calmly read the signs, set boundaries in the right spots, and patiently wait. That's how you create lasting stability for the farm while reducing unnecessary conflict. This content focuses on management and safety. All measures must comply with local regulations and ideally be conducted with experienced guidance.
I'd seen wild hogs caught in traps before, but I had never seen anything like that morning. The sound of steel wire pulled tight, the sound of dirt being torn up, that deep, heavy roar echoing through one corner of the woods. The hogs were thrashing hard, desperately trying to break out of the traps I had set earlier. The whole net system was shaking violently, and it all started because of one destroyed field. Last week, I went back to my hometown to visit my grandmother. As soon as I stepped into the yard, she didn't say much. She just quietly pointed toward the cornfield behind the house. I looked over. Half the field was ripped apart. Corn stalks were snapped flat, roots torn out, and the ground looked like it had been churned by a tiller. But nobody runs farm equipment out here at night. There was only one thing that could have done this: wild hogs, and not just one or two. The neighbors said the hogs had been coming back for weeks. They tried fencing the field. They tried standing watch at night with torches. Some even took turns sleeping in the field shack. But these hogs weren't afraid of people anymore. They came in late. They tore through everything fast, and they vanished before sunrise. One of the older hunters in the village told me, "This sounder has a smart lead boar. He's the one guiding them. If we don't stop them now, this season's a total loss." That same morning, David, a few men from the village, and I decided we had to act immediately. This was going to be a large-scale operation, so we split into smaller teams. Following the hog tracks from the cornfield, we found the perfect location to set the traps. We had already brought in all the gear. This time, we decided to use net traps. Everyone took a job. One team drove heavy steel posts into the ground to lock down the trap positions. Another team unrolled thick coils of netting we had prepared ahead of time. Others stretched and tied the net. Every section had to be pulled tight and fastened carefully to the steel posts. It looked simple, but if even one part was off, the whole trap could fail. By the time the last net panel was up, the woods had gone completely silent. As soon as darkness settled in, the forest changed. The air felt heavy, like the whole place knew something was about to happen. We checked the traps through the cameras. One by one, the hogs started showing up, but I didn't expect that many. They moved slowly into the net trap, not sensing a thing. Then one hog suddenly noticed something was wrong and tried to bolt, and everything exploded into chaos. The net snapped tight like someone yanked it with full force. My heart started pounding. A big sounder had hit the net, more hogs than I could count at first. They thrashed hard, slamming into the mesh and making the whole section shake. And before I could even process that success, David yelled from the side. I turned to the screen. His net was buckling too. We hadn't even had time to say a word to each other when another loud crash echoed up from the valley below. I was pumped. It wasn't just one trap working. The whole trap system was going off, one after another. Net walls bulged in the dark. Everywhere, you could hear thrashing. Deep grunts. The sound of the woods coming alive. It was a strange feeling, part adrenaline, part excitement. We split up and ran to each trap point. Flashlights swept through the trees. Everywhere we looked, nets were shaking. Everywhere we looked, we had a catch. And I knew it. That night belonged to the net traps. After one long, tense night, we headed back to the trap sites at first light. Up close, that's when I really saw how big they were. Thick shoulders, scarred snouts, heavy muscle rolling under coarse hair. Looking at them, I felt two things at once: relief and a chill down my spine. These weren't just crop-raiding animals. They were survivors of the wild. And every one of them had to be handled humanely, following local rules and regulations, even after all the damage they had caused to the farmers here. On the way back, one of the hunters behind us suddenly stopped. He pointed at the ground near the edge of the trail. Another track, bigger, deeper. It meant the lead boar was still out there. I turned and looked back into the woods. If he was right, then this hunt had only just begun.
You might think this is a nature reserve, but it's not. This is Rome, the capital of Italy. These wild boar families are strolling through crowded neighborhoods as if they were the true owners of the streets. With an estimated population in the millions across Italy, wild boars are rapidly losing their fear of humans. Urban waste has become an easy food source, turning them into a serious threat to traffic safety and daily urban life. What's happening in Rome is a preview of what many suburban areas around the world are beginning to face, as the boundary between city and countryside slowly disappears. So, what's the answer to this growing problem? Instead of mass culling, many countries are choosing more sustainable population management strategies. Most notably, live capture trapping followed by professional handling. One of the most effective tools is the vertical guillotine-style trap. To outsmart such an intelligent animal, experts scatter corn and sweet potatoes along established trails for several days. This builds familiarity and a sense of safety before the trap is ever activated. Take a close look at the trap's design. The frame is welded from heavy-duty angle steel and round bars, strong enough to withstand the full force of an adult boar's charge. The guillotine door hangs above the entrance and, once triggered, drops straight down along steel rails, sealing the trap in a split second. Using either manual pull systems or remote triggers, operators aim to capture the entire sounder, not just individual animals. The door is only activated once the whole group is fully inside. This method prevents scattered survivors from learning, adapting, and returning to cause more trouble later. While box traps work well for smaller groups, areas with heavy wild boar pressure require a more flexible solution, the corral trap. With its large open space, this trap allows for mass capture without making the animals feel cornered, reducing panic and stress. Corral traps are typically set in pastures, forest edges, or heavily damaged agricultural zones. Thanks to their ability to capture entire herds in a single operation, corral traps are considered one of the most effective tools for large-scale wild boar management, protecting crops while meeting humane standards. Another option includes open-top enclosures that create a sense of openness, lowering the boar's natural suspicion. The key lies in the door systems, either one-way entrances or remotely triggered gates, allowing the entire herd to enter freely before closure. Choosing the right trap, placing it in the right location, and activating it at the right moment are critical to success. Not every situation requires herd capture. For isolated boars appearing in gardens, farms, or residential yards, single catch traps offer a simple and cost-effective solution. While they're not suitable for population explosions, they're highly effective for protecting individual properties. From simple cage traps to complex corral systems, each method plays a specific role in an overall wildlife management strategy. Whether the goal is protecting crops, neighborhoods, or ecosystems, the common thread is restoring balance between humans and nature. After a successful capture, the next step is safe handling and transport. Since large traps are usually fixed in place, wild boars are guided into smaller transfer cages, reducing struggle and minimizing injury risk. Depending on local wildlife regulations, suitable animals may be relocated to controlled zones, while others are handled using approved humane methods. As transport trucks roll away from residential areas, peace is restored for local communities, bringing a responsible control operation to a close. These traps are more than technical tools. They're proof that humans can learn to coexist with wildlife, rather than constantly confront it. In suburban areas, controlling wild boars isn't about using the strongest trap. It's about using the right tool for the right situation. When intervention is timely and well-planned, conflict can be prevented before it turns into a crisis. That's how communities can live more safely alongside a changing natural world. It didn't begin in the fields or at the forest edge. It began right inside the working heart of the farm. A herd of wild boars appeared in the very spaces where people carry out their daily lives. What they left behind were overturned tables and chairs, damaged equipment, and a workplace thrown into chaos. And when wild boars grow so accustomed that every time they appear, they walk straight into human workspaces, this is no longer a story about crops. It is a clear sign that the control system has reacted more slowly than the boar's ability to adapt. The moment had come for us, those entrusted with protecting the peace of this land, to act decisively. Shall we go then? The most common mistake in wild boar management is not a lack of tools, but poor timing and flawed execution. Set a trap along the wrong route, trigger it too early, or let even a single animal escape, and the entire herd will remember what happened. From that moment on, they grow more alert, alter their movement patterns, and become willing to push deeper into human spaces. When this happens, any reaction driven by impulse or emotion risks pushing the situation completely out of control. In this situation, the goal is not to chase the animals away, certainly not to cause panic. The top priority is to stop the herd from continuing to access the work area, prevent them from scattering in multiple directions, and avoid creating additional risks for people. The chosen solution is a large coral-style trap integrated with a remote monitoring camera system. This tool allows decisions to be made based on real data, not guesswork. The camera clearly identifies the size of the herd, their approach routes, and the exact moment when the boars are least alert. In wildlife control, accurate information is just as important as the trap itself. Automatic cameras are positioned along multiple approach routes around the trap, covering the entire movement zone of the boar herd. This setup is not about catching more animals. It is about minimizing risk to people. Every decision is based on real-time visual evidence, with no guesswork and no rushed reactions. Only when the entire herd is fully within the safe control zone is the system activated. When the cameras confirm that the entire herd is inside the trap, the system is activated remotely. The automatic drop mechanism seals all exits in an instant, containing the herd within a closed, fully controllable space. No individual panics and escapes. No movement spills over into areas where people live and work. The risk is stopped exactly at the point of intrusion. This is the fundamental difference between technology-based control and traditional manual methods. Instead of relying on a single trap, the system is deployed across multiple strategic points, known travel routes, areas near food sources, and access points close to farm structures. This approach prevents the herd from scattering in multiple directions, reduces pressure on any single trap, and increases overall control of the entire area. It is a long-term control strategy, well suited to farm environments where people live and work on a daily basis.
You're looking.
A single small mistake in trap placement can turn a controlled situation into a serious threat to the entire farm. Once wild boars cross into restricted areas, what matters most is not reacting the fastest, but reacting with precision. Technology, timing, and disciplined decision-making allow risks to be contained responsibly, before people are forced to pay a heavy price. This is not just about controlling wild boars, it is about protecting safety, order, and the daily rhythm of an entire community, effectively and without unnecessary strain on human effort. When wild boars begin to destroy, warning signs and how to trap them immediately. No one expects that after just one night, the whole field would turn into a wasteland, torn apart and devastated. Newly rooted crops are overturned, mud splattered everywhere, and fences are bent as if they've just taken a brutal hit. This is a clear sign that the wild boars have returned in packs and are expanding their territory. When the damage exceeds the ability of farmers to repair it, the issue no longer becomes about temporary scares. It's about making the right decision from the very first sign. And that's when our team quickly deployed the wild boar control plan. Through team discussions and planning, we realized that in order to solve the problem at its root, we needed to understand the creatures we were dealing with. Drawing from our experience in controlling wild boars in the US, where the species is considered an invasive threat causing severe damage, one principle is always at the forefront. Never go against the natural structure and behavior of the herd. Wild boars feel safest when moving in groups. They avoid anything that could separate the herd or force them into making sudden, stressful decisions. If one individual encounters danger, the entire herd will remember the area and change their route in subsequent visits. For this reason, small, disjointed measures often fail to resolve the issue and can make future control efforts even harder. Trap number 6 was selected due to its open space, curved structure that surrounds the herd's familiar route, allowing them to enter without feeling cornered. Rather than applying pressure, this trap serves as a tool to gently guide their behavior, leading them into a controlled area in the most natural way possible. Trap number 6 wasn't chosen for its strength, but for its ability to intervene early, before the herd can adjust its behavior. This is a long-term control strategy that minimizes the risk of the wild boars learning to avoid traps and returning with even greater destructive force. The trap is set along a predetermined path to minimize changes to the surrounding environment. The trap frames are securely fixed and camouflaged to blend in with the natural surroundings, preventing any foreign elements that might alert the herd. The bait is arranged in layers, not to lure, but to create a familiar and safe atmosphere. The entire process is focused on stability, as even a single hasty action could cause the herd to change its behavior. Wild boars are highly cautious. In the first few nights, the herd only approaches and then retreats. This is their natural risk assessment process. Without any signs of force or pressure, the boars gradually move deeper into the trap area, following their usual routine. Only when the entire herd is inside in its natural state is the intervention triggered. The trap mechanism activates smoothly, safely controlling the entire herd without causing chaos or posing any danger to humans or the surrounding area. Controlling a herd doesn't mean the risk is eliminated. Other herds will continue to scout the area from different directions. However, with the traps already set up and working in sync, subsequent interventions become more proactive and effective. Over time, the area begins to form a risk awareness for the wild boars. They no longer see it as a safe zone to return to, which significantly reduces the likelihood of repeated destruction. Wild boar control is not a hasty action, but a process that requires observation, understanding of behavior, and making the right decision at the right time. Trap number 6 isn't just a tool, it's a testament to responsible management, balancing production, community safety, and the ecosystem. In this silent confrontation, success doesn't come from rushing. It comes from patience, knowledge, and the ability to guide behavior rather than facing it head on. In wild boar management, true victory doesn't lie in how many boars you catch, but in preventing damage from happening in the first place.